If I'm dating someone, I'm on that Instagram, okay? I also have a major boundary around engaging with other women's Instagrams, following them, liking the photos, DMing, especially commenting. I will not allow that in a relationship. It's a boundary that I've set. Again, it doesn't need to be everyone's boundary. In a relationship, a man defying that boundary for me, because that's something that I've set, would be categorized as disrespect. And that's a boundary that I'm not willing to compromise on. Some people are willing to compromise on that, and that's totally fine. That's something you need to decide for yourself.
Okay, bitch, let's talk about my top 5 dating boundaries. Number 1, I am not fucking sleeping with you unless you're my boyfriend. I used to believe so strongly that if they're the right guy, it won't matter when you sleep with them, but it's so fucking hard to figure out if they're the right guy so early on. So I'm fucking sorry, but unless you're my man, I'm not sleeping with you or doing anything with you besides kiss. Number 2 is no sleepovers. You're not staying at my place, I'm not staying at your place, I'm going the fuck home. That creates a false sense of intimacy, and I just don't want to do it. It also makes it harder not to do shit with them. Number 3 is no introducing them to family, and I'm not meeting your family. I feel like meeting family is such a privilege, and I value that so highly. I'm not just going to introduce a random man that is not my boyfriend to my family, and I don't want to meet your family either. Number 4 is no constant texting. This is something that I really had to get over because I love to text, especially if I like somebody. But that really creates a false sense of intimacy, and I don't want a fucking pen pal. Why should I be talking to you all day, every day, if you're not my man? We should be texting here and there, calling here and there, planning dates, and seeing each other in person. Then, as things start progressing, we can start texting more and more. I also used to think that if they weren't texting me 24/7, they didn't like me, and that's just not true either. But don't get that confused. They should still be putting in effort and making plans to see you, and if not, they probably just don't fucking like you. Number 5 might be a little controversial, but I'm not being exclusive to anybody who is not my boyfriend. If you want to be exclusive and not have me talk to other guys, then you can ask me to be your girlfriend. So many guys will ask to be exclusive when 1, they're not being exclusive to you, and 2, because they don't want you talking to other guys, but they still don't want to make you their girlfriend. So nah, not doing that shit.
Ready with me while I talk about how I set strict financial boundaries in relationships? It's kind of a hot take, and I know not everyone will agree with me, but if a man is asking you on a date, literally, it's bare minimum to pay. A lot of this mindset, I think, comes from me being Asian. Like, when my family goes out to dinner with anyone, like, everyone is fighting for the check to pay for each other. Because if you love and care about someone, they mean so much more to you than any monetary value. I also have a dad that plans to pay for me and my sister until the day he dies, so why would I not expect that from a man? One time in college, this guy, asked me out on a date, and he was kind of hinting that he wanted to split the check at the end. The waiter comes by to drop off the check, and then I go, and he obviously gives it to the man. And I go, "Sorry, sir, we actually need it split. He needs help paying for it." Ah! Nothing emasculates a man more than saying he needs help. After the date, guy was like, "I didn't need help. Why would you say that? Blah, blah, blah. It's just fair to, split it." Oh, shut up! And guess what, ladies? He still kept asking me out on dates and stuff. I just didn't go on them, because why would... Another time I went on a date with this guy in college, and he paid for dinner and everything, and he was paying for drinks after. We go to a bar, and he orders more shots. But yeah, he paid for everything so far, but then he looks at me when he gets these more shots, and he was like, "I covered everything. Can you cover these shots at least?" And I straight up looked at him, straight in his eye. I straight up go, "No, I'm on a date. I don't pay for things on dates." Deadass just looked him straight in the eye. No talking, just silence. Guess what? He magically found the money to pay for the rest of the date. And still kept asking me out on more and more dates, because guess what, ladies? It doesn't scare off men to set a boundary. A guy I dated sold off some family heirlooms so he could pay for his frat dues and pay to take me out. My sister's currently dating a guy that literally had to go back to school to get his MBA, so he's doesn't have money right now, and he sold his AirPods to take her out to dinner. Obviously, if someone's struggling, I'm never going to hold their financial situation against them, and I will help. And I plan to be a woman that works and brings in part of the income. But to me, dating is practicing for, marriage. When you get married to someone, you're still going to be taking them out on dates, so I have a standard for how I want to be treated on a date, because we're going to be going on dates until I die. Also, if you think about it, like the stuff us women have to do to get ready for a date probably equals out to bare minimum $100 with like waxing, threading, makeup, outfit. But that's just a bare minimum boundary I have in men, is like that whole provider mindset. And because when it comes to work, they have so many less things to worry about. And as a woman, your time is so much more precious dating than his time. We have our biological clocks. A lot of women still are the main caregivers of a family while working. We have to put in more effort to like get up in the workplace. And that's beautiful. And I love that I can provide life or warmth or something that a man can't provide. But in my culture, money and paying for things are like a respect thing. And bare minimum, I'm going to be respected. Let me know your guys' opinions on.
I want to talk about boundaries in a relationship because they matter. If you are not married to someone, that's my microwave, stop acting as so. I feel like too often in the dating phase, everyone's talking about how much money they make and they're doing physical things and they're just blurring so many lines, acting like this is their spouse when it ain't their spouse. I don't see a covenant on that yet. And you want to know why when you break up, it hurts so much worse? It's because y'all probably did not have boundaries. Boundaries could mean physical boundaries, spiritual boundaries, what y'all talk about. If he overpromised all these things to you and it ended up not working out, and you're like, but he said. So even the words we say, living together, you're just blurring the lines way too much because you're acting like you're married when you're not. And so when you break up, it feels like this ripping, like you're literally like ripping apart from this person, when in reality, I just think the way that God designed it was supposed to be that you could end things amicably and be like, I wish you well, that's a bummer that it didn't work out, but I still care for you, I still respect you. It doesn't always have to be this insane toxic heartbreak. You can wish them well and then move on with your life, and then you're like, I'm good because I still respect that person, and you didn't cross boundaries emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, so many things. I'm not saying though that when the breakup happens, it's not going to still hurt. It absolutely will still hurt. You'll still feel sad, etc., whatever. But it's going to hurt a lot less, and you're going to heal faster because you weren't completely attached to this person. You weren't codependent. Until you were married, you are not one. You're still an individual. They're an individual, but don't act like you're one because you're not. Take it from me, I've had toxic breakups, and I've also had a breakup that ended extremely amicable. And the difference is drastic. It's because we had boundaries. And I think this is just what it looks like to date well, to honor the person, to be intentional and be kind, and just do it God's way. So let me know if that makes sense. And yeah, let me know if you want a part 2 with more thoughts.
I'm not available to talk after 9:30. Let's not call or text after that. If they try to contact you even after saying that clearly, stop talking to them. And you don't need to remind them why. I have a schedule and don't do last minute plans. If you want to see me, let me know ahead of time. You are not a plan B, and you are not always available. I'd rather go out if we do. Let me know what you have in mind. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people think it's okay to invite you over too early. It is not the time for that. This is the time for courtship. They should be planning something impressive and thoughtful. They can ask you for your preferences, but the effort should be coming from them. These things build standards and expectations from the get-go. You don't need to over-justify or over-explain. Less is more. In fact, you should be nonchalant and kind of playful about it. The right people will not push your boundaries again.
Here's a boundary I have when dating somebody new that I think might be a bit controversial. I don't want to be connected on social media with them. I'm not going to follow you on Instagram, nor do I want you following me back. I don't want you following me on TikTok, nor do I want to follow you back. I don't want any connection on social media. And every time I tell somebody that I want that, they're always shocked by it. And I get it. We live in a day and age where social media is such a big part of our life. But that's precisely why I don't want the connection. I also don't text a lot in the beginning of a new relationship. I'm not saying I won't text at all, but I'm not going to text you from sunup to sundown. And I'm also not going to have conversations about very deep topics via text. I'm going to have those in person. And the reason that I do both of those things is because I don't want to create a false sense of intimacy and feel like I know this person more than I actually know them because of what I'm learning about them on social media or the frequent texting back and forth all day long. You get to know someone by spending time with them in person. And if you want to get to know me, then spend time with me. Schedule dates. Additionally, you guys know I share very openly on social media, and I do that because my goal is to empower other women. It's to help people. And that requires that I be vulnerable, and I want to continue to share very freely. And I don't want the lens of worrying about somebody that I'm interested in looking at my page and maybe learning something new about me. The way that they should learn about me and get to know me is in an organic fashion as we build trust, as our relationship grows. So, 1 week in, 2 weeks in, if they come on my social media, they're going to learn a lot of stuff about me that I normally wouldn't disclose that early on in a relationship. And I know some people are going to come at me and say, oh, you just don't want people knowing that you have herpes. No, this is a boundary that I had in place well before I came on the internet and told you all that I had herpes. I'm not even worried if they find that out. I'm talking about my deep personal stuff. So I'm in no way saying this is a forever thing. As our relationship builds, I am definitely open to, eventually molding that part of our lives together or meshing it together. But from the get-go, as we're getting to know each other, no social media. Let me know what you guys think.
Let's talk about creating boundaries in your dating life. Welcome to the Daddy Academy. So if you're struggling with trusting yourself, trusting your judgment, these same patterns keep happening to you in your dating life, you need to refresh your boundaries, okay? Something's off. We got to recalibrate it. So this is what you got to do, okay? You want to come up with a list of about 5 things, okay? You can make it more than 5, but I feel like 5 is a good number to make sure that they're, really serious ones that you're not going to tolerate whatsoever. You might say, okay, well, how do we do this? It could be anything. All right, so you want to come up with the most extreme case and work backwards because we need to find the line of conversation. For example, let's say you've struggled in the past because you've dated guys or women, I don't know who's watching this video, a lot of arguing, toxic arguing, okay? So like the top line would be, if this person blows up in front of me, in front of all my friends, immediate breakup, right? Like that's the most extreme case. So now let's work backwards. So you might work all the way back down different scenarios to the line of conversation being something like, he belittled something I said, made me feel like I'm stupid, right? Something like that. A line of conversation is that thing that happens where you are disrespected, okay? Boundaries are all about respect. So like that first line of like blatant disrespect, that's the conversation. That is where you say, in a nice way, because the first time we're bringing up something, if someone doesn't know your boundaries, we're not going to like roast them, but you're going to say in a stern way, but like kind, that like the way you spoke to me and handled that conversation, really doesn't work for me. Things like that have happened to me in the past. And if we're going to move forward, I just really need you to understand that. And then you observe the behavior coming out of that. Okay, you want him or her to be extremely apologetic, completely understanding, and you want it to never happen again. If it does happen again, you're done. You walk. That is what holding a strong boundary means. Okay, so we go to the most extreme, work our way scenario by scenario back to where we find that line. If they cross it, we bring up the conversation, and if it happens again, you walk. You do not stay with someone who is continuously pushing and crossing your boundaries.
We're gonna get ready for dinner. We're gonna talk about 10 boundaries that every relationship should have. I always talk about boundaries on here and like how important they are, but I've never gone in and specified what my boundaries are in my relationships. So I want to talk about 10 boundaries that like I think are super important that every woman should have. Number 1 is that if I'm dating a guy, I think a boundary that I'll have is no Snapchatting other girls. First of all, why are you even using Snapchat? Second of all, if you are, you're sure as shit not going to be Snapchatting other girls because those messages and photos disappear and that's sketchy. Everything I'm saying goes both ways. The only way that you as a girl should be Snapchatting another guy is if he is your gay best friend or something and it's fully gay. Number 2, so let's say the scenario, they have a female coworker, okay, getting lunch on their lunch break, just them and the female coworker, in my opinion, is crossing a boundary. If it's in a group, that's totally fine. If it's just them, though, and the female coworker, that's 100% crossing a boundary. Babe, that's a date. That's a date. I know that sounds niche, but I feel like a lot of women date guys that work in a corporate setting where this is a possibility. I have powder all over my eyes, but number 3 is communication on a night out. I think if a man is going ghost on a night out, that totally crosses a boundary if he's not communicating with you while he's out at the club or something without you. I'm not saying you have to be on your phone texting them 24/7, but I think at least text them, You know, if you're a guy, text your girl when you're arriving, like, hey, we just got here. I'll text you later. And then text them when you're leaving, like, hey, we're wrapping up. I'm about to head out. I'll call you from the Uber on my way home. You don't have to be living on your phone, but doing enough to where your partner's feeling secure. There's nothing better than having a fresh, unused contour stick. I'm so excited. Number 4 is if they're following a bunch of Instagram models that don't follow them back, or like OF models that don't follow them back, that's crossing a boundary. That's so fucking embarrassing. Like, they're being openly lustful. Like, I just don't understand that. That's, like, to me, so disrespectful. I don't know how anyone could ever be okay with that. Number 5 is if they say hi to a girl while you're out, like they're like, oh my God, hey, and they don't introduce you, that's crossing a boundary. In my opinion, that's sketchy, and I just think it's also like rude. Like, I think the appropriate thing to do is when you say hi to someone, be like, oh, hi, how are you? This is my girlfriend, or this is blah, blah, blah. Like, don't just do nothing. I just think that's rude and inconsiderate. Number 6 is, this is a boundary that I have, which is if I'm dating a guy, I don't think they should have a straight girl best friend. That they're like, oh, she's my best friend, she's my girl best friend, and she's a straight woman. To me, I've realized through my dating experiences that if you're dating a guy, you should be their best friend. Like, you should date your best friend. Like, that's how it should be. And if there's another woman that they're referring to as their best friend over you, you should watch your fucking back. It's literally like that movie with Julia Roberts and Cameron Diaz, where Julia Roberts is the girl best friend and he's getting married to Cameron Diaz, but like Julia Roberts is a problem and like she tries to be accepting of it. It's that fucking movie. I think it's called My Best Friend's Girl or something along those lines. But look, the reality is you should be able to have friends of the opposite gender, of course. I want my man to have male and female friends. Same for me. But you should be their best friend. You should be their partner's best friend. There should be no other woman who's ranked above you in that term. That's fucking weird. I would see that as a red flag. Number 7, this one is so obvious, but no DMing other girls, no swiping up on other girls' stories, no, like, I don't even think you should be texting another girl unless, like, she's a mutual friend of ours or, you know, something along those lines, or I know them. Shouldn't be liking other girls' stories. They should not be texting a girl that you don't know and have never heard of. If they're texting another girl, it has to be someone that you know personally and you're comfortable with, and there obviously has to be a reason for them texting. It shouldn't just be like, hey, good morning. Like, why are you sending a good morning text to another girl? Guys, the thing about me is I'm a very chill, like, girlfriend for the most part, not to sound like a fucking pick-me. Like, if you ask my most recent ex, like, if you know him and you asked him, like, I was a really chill girlfriend. I was not controlling, like, whatsoever, because I think at a certain point, yes, I have boundaries, but I also have a philosophy of if he wants to, he will. If he wants to cheat, he will find a way to do it one way or another. Me micromanaging him won't stop him. So yes, I have boundaries, but I don't force the person to do right by me. I have things that I'm not okay with, and if they cross that, then we'll just be done. Like, I just won't stick around for it. I love that eyeshadow color, oh my gosh. Is a huge boundary crossing would be is if your man was subscribing to women on OnlyFans. To me, that is so disrespectful. Also, it's like you're wasting your hard-earned money subscribing to someone else's OnlyFans when you're in a fucking relationship. And I'm not trying to hate on, you know, women that do OF, but like, I would not date a man who is subscribed to a bunch of OF girls while we were in a relationship. To me, that's kind of a form of cheating, in my opinion. Okay, number 9, when it comes to Instagram, when it came to liking other girls' pictures, my boundary was always nothing scandalous. Like I said before, my ex has had, like, a lot of female friends, and I didn't care if he liked their picture, if it was, like, a graduation picture or a picture of them with friends at a concert. But if it's, like, a bikini picture or a picture with a lot of cleavage, liking that would be crossing a boundary, because I think then you're showing her that you like what you see. But I was never the girl to be like, you can't like other girls' Instagram pictures. Because, like, if she's your friend and she's just posting a picture about her college graduation or with her other friends, I don't care. There's nothing bad about that. Oh my God, my cat has been scratching at the door. I have to shut them out because otherwise they come in here and they cause a mess. All right, 10 is the boundaries for if he's on a boys' trip. I would say sending random photos to you